Germany lost the war, but not for lack of innovation. Rocket interceptors whose fuel could melt flesh, jet fighters decades ahead, wooden aircraft built in furniture shops, vertical launch weapons that turned pilots into one-way missiles, some brilliant, some desperate, all too late. And at the end came the Horten Ho 229, a tailless flying wing that hinted at low radar visibility and later fueled Allied research. Stay to the end. You'll see how Germany's boldest project became an advantage for its enemies. Me-163 Komet rocket interceptor. It could hit about 596 miles per hour and climb almost vertically, but carried only around 8 minutes of fuel, then returned as a powerless glider with no weapons or protection. Hypergolic propellants could burn flesh, and the skid landing gear made crashes and fuel fires terrifyingly common. Verdict: unmatched speed, but too dangerous and too brief to change the air war. Me-262 Schwalbe, first operational jet fighter. At about 540 miles per hour, it made piston fighters obsolete, and 430mm cannons could rip apart bomber formations. Crews often stripped bomb racks for weight, yet the early turbojets were fragile and flamed out constantly. It might have ruled 1943, but arrived in force in late 1944 with no fuel, parts or time. Verdict: a perfect machine, ruined by timing. E-162 Volksjäger, emergency jet fighter for rushed late-war training. Built from wood in furniture factories around a single BMW jet, it could reach about 522 miles per hour and was pushed from prototype to production in roughly 69 days. But shortcuts were lethal: poor workmanship, fuel and engine issues, and glue-bonded structures that could fail under stress. Over 800 were ordered, yet pilots died in accidents before combat. Verdict: desperation made it fast. Desperation also made it unsafe. Ju-87 Stuka, dive bomber and terror weapon. Its Jericho trumpet siren amplified psychological shock in Poland and France, and its pinpoint dives were brutally accurate, but fixed landing gear capped it at roughly 240 miles per hour. In the Battle of Britain, it was exposed as slow and vulnerable. Once opposing fighters arrived, losses were severe and daylight missions were curtailed. Crews added armor and extra guns, but it couldn't outrun modern interceptors. Verdict: fear and precision, until air superiority vanished. Arado Ar 234 Blitz, jet bomber and reconnaissance aircraft. Over Britain, its speed and altitude made interception nearly impossible. As the first operational jet bomber, it could reach around 462 miles per hour on twin turbojets. But it paid for that edge with brutal practicality. Trolley takeoff, skid landings and crashes that injured crews until units improvised gear. Only about 214 were built, far too few to matter, and late strikes like the Remagen Bridge attack achieved little. Verdict: breakthrough technology, wasted by timing. Bar 349 Natter, vertical launch rocket interceptor. It fired from a launch tower, climbed for only a few minutes on rocket power, attacked with rockets, then was meant to separate and let the pilot bail out. Reality was savage. The first manned test ended in a fatal breakup. Yet about 36 were still built. It flew at least one combat attempt and was reportedly shot down by a P-47. Verdict: a weapon built around disposable pilots, pure desperation in hardware form. Do-335 Pfeil, push-pull heavy fighter. With tandem engines front and rear, it avoided asymmetric thrust and reached around 474 miles per hour, making it Germany's fastest piston aircraft. It carried heavy cannon armament and even used an ejection seat system to clear the prop arc. First flown in October 1943, it was strangled by delays and complexity. Only about 37 were completed. Pilots praised its speed. Ground crews feared the rear prop and hated maintenance. Verdict: brilliant performance, arriving too late. Horten Ho 229, flying wing jet prototype. With no tail and twin turbojets, it promised extreme speed, often sighted around 600 miles per hour, and a reduced radar profile thanks to its clean planform and mixed wood and metal construction. Planned armament included 230mm cannons, but development was rushed. The third prototype crashed, and the pilot was killed. As Germany collapsed, the factory and airframes were captured and later studied. Verdict: a glimpse of the future. Too late to help Germany, but valuable to its enemies. Bf 109. Luftwaffe workhorse fighter. Over 33,000 were built, and it fought from Spain through the final battles of 1945. Its narrow landing gear caused many training accidents, and the cramped cockpit and short range never truly went away. The design evolved non-stop. Bigger engines, revised armament, field weight cuts, but overheating and reliability issues followed late variants. By 1943 it faced newer Allied fighters, yet it kept flying because Germany needed numbers. Verdict: quantity sustained what time made obsolete. FW 190, radial engine fighter that shocked the RAF in 1941. When it appeared over the Channel, it outpaced and outgunned the Spitfire Mark V, often carrying 4 cannons and rolling with brutal agility. The advantage held until the Spitfire Mark IX arrived and closed the gap. Units pushed performance hard with boost systems like MW50, trading engine life for short-term power because survival mattered more than maintenance schedules. Over 20,000 were built. Verdict: arguably the best piston fighter, arriving as jets made pistons obsolete. E-111, medium bomber with the distinctive glazed nose. It helped smash Poland and France and then carried the Blitz to London in 1940, when roughly 273 miles per hour still seemed good enough. The Battle of Britain proved otherwise. Daylight formations were mauled by modern fighters, forcing a rapid shift to night bombing. Crews added more guns and armor, but the extra weight only worsened performance. Obsolete by 1942, it still flew to 1945 because no true replacement arrived. Verdict: a blitzkrieg icon turned into a symbol of attrition. Ju-88, versatile twin-engine workhorse. Over 15,000 were built, and it was forced into every role: bomber, torpedo bomber, reconnaissance platform, and night fighter. It rarely excelled in any single mission, but crews kept upgrading it: radar sets, heavier guns, and even upward-firing Schwalbe music cannons that ambushed bombers from below. The airframe's adaptability let it survive constant doctrinal shifts when Germany couldn't afford clean-sheet replacements. Verdict: master of none, survivor by evolution. He-219 Uhu, dedicated night fighter. On its debut, Major Werner Streib reportedly downed 5 Lancasters in about 30 minutes, showing what the airframe could do. With radar, heavy cannon armament, and even early ejection seats, it hunted bombers efficiently at roughly 416 miles per hour, and was often judged a match, or better, against Allied night intruders. But politics, rival programs, and production disruption kept numbers tiny. Only about 268 were built. Verdict: a top-tier night fighter strangled by internal competition. Me-410 Hornisse, heavy fighter and bomber destroyer. Some variants carried a massive 50mm cannon, letting crews fire from outside the effective range of many defensive guns and score early successes against bomber formations. But the concept collapsed once long-range escorts arrived. P-51s hunted these heavy twins relentlessly. Crews often removed the big gun to save weight and tried different weapon fits, yet the airframe remained sluggish and vulnerable. Verdict: a specialized answer that became obsolete the moment the enemy adapted. Me-323 Gigant, 6-engine heavy transport. With a 136-foot wingspan, it could haul roughly 130 troops or about 23,000 kilograms of cargo, making it the largest German land transport aircraft of the war. It kept the Africa Corps supplied, but it was painfully slow, around 135 miles per hour, and easy prey. In April 1943, Allied fighters caught a formation and destroyed 16 in minutes. Verdict: essential lift, but a flying target once the enemy found it.